And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. Today happens to be the 10th day. Yes, sir. Can you believe it? 10 days gone already. Huh? Jeez. Pretty soon we'll be saying Happy February. I'm George Grant saying welcome to today's edition, the Friday edition. I know that makes you guys very happy. It's a Friday. So the weekend's here, isn't it? Well, this morning things are going to be a little bit different. You can always count on us for surprises, right? And I'm actually seeing a surprise here already on Facebook this morning. As I read the rundown, you'll understand why I'm talking about surprises. So let's get directly into the rundown this morning, and you'll see what we got lined up for you over the next 59 minutes or so. First of all, yesterday, you heard about that big fire downtown yesterday morning, right? Well, because of my commitment to doing the program yesterday morning, I was not able to get down there very early. However, early yesterday afternoon, after I tied up all my duties here, saddled up, went downtown to capture some of the aftermath, huh? Yes, sirree. We went to take a look at the ruin after yesterday's Grenville Street fire. And I put together a little package. I think it runs about 6 minutes, a little over 6 minutes, as I rolled my way through that rubble down there yesterday. And you'll get to see that in just a wee bit, so hang on. We also have another, that's video number one, right? Video number two. We also have a story from our good friend, Mr. Anthony DeRiggs, and I'm hoping that Anthony is on there this morning. I'll find out in just a wee bit. Anthony has done a piece on one of my favorite dishes, pea soup. Yeah? Not only was I attracted to it because of the pea soup theme, but while I was watching that, I noticed that he mentioned the names of a lot of different staples, a lot of different foods we ate when we were kids growing up. And to tell you the truth, pilgrims, some of those names I have not heard since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, teeny bopper. Well, I'll tell you. As you listen to that this morning, and as you watch that piece, I want you to stop and think, how many of those names, those foods, do you not remember? We'll get to that a little later on. Yes, we do have the national report for you this morning. Now, I mentioned to you that things are a little bit different this morning. The reason why I said that things are a little bit different is because everybody knows that on a Friday morning, we are joined here graciously by Mr. Brian Pitt. Well, Brian Gudday this morning. Brian's not going to be with us this morning. And the reason for that is that we have a special guest from the Big Apple. I don't think there are too many Grenadians in New York who don't know this character. I'm talking about a gentleman by the name of Mr. Johncrow Alexander. Hey, you don't believe me? Just let me show you something here. See that? That's him. Half naked. There he is. There is Mr. Johncrow. Anyhow, we'll get to John. Brian, thank you very much for making way this morning so we could accommodate John. John is here this morning because he is in Grenada, as always, trying to lend a helping hand to the people of this country. Take another look. Take another look. There he is, huh? Johncrow Alexander. I want to find out about this name, Johncrow. I want to know if he made that up or what. But we're going to find out this morning. Okay. Johncrow Alexander is with us. So, let's get down to brass tacks, and I really want you to take a careful look at this. This is This is kind of sad. Apparently, the fire started at about 3 o'clock yesterday morning, and I went down there. It must have been about 1:30 or so, and they were still working there. Grenville was there. The fire people were still there, but obviously the flames had been doused because I was allowed pretty much right on the property. Anyhow, take a look. All right, so there you have it. That's what it looked like yesterday afternoon. I would say, me. If this thing started 3 o'clock on yesterday morning, Thursday morning, this was about 1:30 yesterday afternoon. So, John and I are just sitting here talking, and he was saying this could have been a lot worse if this. Can you imagine if this thing had happened sometime during rush hour, or whenever, sometime later on in the day? Anyhow, we're going to talk about that in just a wee bit. But you're probably saying, hey, what happened, George? You ain't saying good morning to us this morning? Well, George is about to say good morning to you guys. First of all, new winner this morning, Andrea St. B. Hello, Andrea St. B., and congratulations. Jose Felipe is saying good morning. Jose, nice to see you. Arthur Langine is saying, thank God it's Friday. You're retired. What do you mean, thank God it's Friday? Huh? You're retired. Jeez. Grenada Sunshine saying good morning, and hello there, Margaret. Wishing everybody happy Friday. John Franco is sending his blessings. Joan Wellington is saying good morning, everybody. Happy weekend to all. Have a safe weekend, says Joan. Sean out there, hello there, Sean in the Azores. T.F. Richards is in California this morning. See, when I call the guy a nomad, I ain't kidding. He is a nomad. Benedict Cador saying, fantastic Friday. Johncrow Alexander. Wait a minute. You on Facebook sitting right here in my chair? Can't you just talk to me? You say good morning. He says, we are rolling in with Grenada Broadcast. Yaman. Nice to have you here. Congratulations. Kipling Francis is sending God's blessings. Anthea Rello is saying good morning from Virginia. Hello, Anthea. You on the road too? Trying to become a nomad like TF? She says, George, please remind me where Grenville Street is. Do you know where? Okay. If you come down Market Hill, the first street you come to on your left, you turn left. It's right at the junction where at Today's Wonders used to be set up there. Yeah? And Purcell's Lumber and Paint Shop, as you saw in there. They're also on that same street. Yeah, that's another place. When you come, if you're coming down not Lucas Street, Church Street, when you get to where the Anglican church is, there are some steps on your right. I think they call them the long steps. Yeah, you go down those. That's where I went. I went down. That's where we started that video yesterday. Went down those steps, and that's where it is. Okay. Spice Babes Duncan is saying good morning. Thank God for another day in spicy Grenada, and God bless us all. Thank you, bro. Or ma'am, I'm not sure. Spice Babes. John Franco, when I was growing up, our family lived where Purcell is. Oh, I see. Okay, John. Hello there, LMA. Good to see you. LMA is saying good morning. No sound for some weeks. LMA, it's not us, because everybody else is helping. You go buy, she's not going to hear me. You go buy yourself some speakers, okay? LMA. LMA is a wonderful lady. Margaret says, what? Johncrow, you ain't easy showing off chest and tingly? Well, Margaret, wait, Mags, wait until we get to the sec. Let me see. He hasn't buttoned it up. But just hold on a sec. We'll get to John in just a wee bit. Peter Bishop saying good morning. Jackie O is saying good morning. And so is John Best watching from Aruba. Hello, Aruba. Thank you very much for joining us here in Grenada. Margaret was looking at that video and she says, so sad. Feels like the end of an era. Margaret, like I said, girl, this thing could have been a heck of a lot worse. Heck of a lot. I think there are 3 buildings that were destroyed. I only saw one of the cars, but I understand that 2 cars were either badly damaged or destroyed in there. Gemma Monica Hunt is there as well this morning. T.F. Richard says, I look at the Independence flag on the building and it reminded me of the Courts fire. After all was done, the Courts flag was still standing. Isn't that something? I guess the flags are resilient as the Grenadian people. TF, indeed, boy, we are a resilient people. Um, Joan Wellington says disasters like that in these gru days, it's a very sad time for our little country. Indeed, Joan. Sean says cheerful music for such a sad scene. I hope no one was hurt. No one was hurt as far as I understand it. And Margaret is responding to Joan here. Margaret says, yeah, Joan Wellington was thinking of the people who are now out of work as a result. Gru times. Anthea says, this is heartbreaking. More sore sights in our city. Hopefully, rebuilding won't take forever. My heart goes out to all affected. Claude Putnam is saying good morning. So is Maria St. Bernard. Clive Baker. Good morning, Clive. Clive says, good morning, Uncle George. Very, very sad. It will take a while before they get things up and running. Anthony Howard says, good morning, George and family, from Beltsville in Maryland. I thought you belonged to New Jersey. What are you doing in Maryland? Arthur Langine. Yes, I know. It's known as Long Steps. Yes, Arthur. That's where it is. And Anthea now remembers. She says, I remember was mixing it up with Gore Street. Okay. Kay Dents. I'm not sure I've seen Kay before. And anyhow, another weekend coming up. Drivers, please drive carefully, and pedestrians, be alert. And finally, Anthony DeRiggs is saying good morning. And he's saying good morning to John as well. John, he says, John, keep those videos coming. I see you got some fire for some of your observations. You know what he's talking about? Yeah, okay, yeah, John says he knows. All right, pilgrims. Now, Anthony, you showed up right on time because this next little piece here is one of Anthony's latest pieces. This has to do with pea soup. You know, let me tell you, after watching this thing, Anthony, after I shot this video yesterday, I was downtown, and I went and I bought myself a bag of peas. So guess who cooking pea soup this weekend? Mags, I need your help. Mags is my chef, my culinary expert. She'll be on the phone to me or on WhatsApp saying, yeah, this is what you do. You put 2 of this and 3 of that and 4 of the pea soup. I even bought some sweet potatoes to go along with it. The boy getting fresh. Anyhow, check out Anthony.
Pieces about food. I know many of you know how much I like to post food, especially on Facebook. The pea soup you're looking at there was made by Arthur Hosden. Looks so appetizing. But in this piece, I want to big up, as the Jamaicans would say, our Grenadian parents, especially our mothers, who did so much of the cooking. Appetizing foods, pleasing to our palates. The variety, so many different foods. So I'm going to list some foods, and I'll tell you a little in poetry about something called the washout. I'm sure many of you remember that. So our Grenadian parents, man, they were good. They made potato stew, plum stew, damson stew, tamarind stew, golden apple stew, guava cheese, guava jam, cocoa fudge, something called chip, stuffed fudge, sugar cake, nut sweetie, groundnut sugar cake, coconut tart, coconut bun, hot cross buns, fried bakes, Johnny Bakes, pineapple tart, coconut tart, stuffed jacks, conky and tamarind ball, snow ice, block, especially milk block, soursop ice cream, soursop block, cuckoo, cornmeal porridge, cornmeal dumpling, turnover. Well, last I had a turnover. fried breadfruit, gospel juice, oil dung, passion fruit, soursop juice, pea soup, cow foot soup, breadfruit soup, split pea soup, callaloo soup. Oh, the fish broth, stewed tattoo and manicu, lamby waters, fish cake, oil dung and steam jacks. Cook up rice, crab back, tanya log and stewed beef, stewed chicken foot, blood pudding, bread pudding, potato pudding, banana fritters, pong plantain, fonte. A young lady told me she never heard the word fonte. There was a man called Mr. Bartholomew on St. John Street. He used to sell fonte in the shop. Well, of course, the Christmas cake and the pound cake, the ginger sweetie and the nut sweetie. Well, bread, of course, and sweet bread. Fried plantain and pepper sauce, banana fritters, cocoa tea and bush tea, corn jacks, sago porridge. Somebody told me they never heard of sago, boy. Sago was big in Grenada one time. We drank our sago porridge. And then after that, boy, a big dose of cedar or castor oil. And he sent you straight in the latrine. They call it the washout. We eat all the mango, ate all the mango, and all the different fruits. But before we went back to school, it was the dreaded washout. The washout. When our holiday time was done, after all the days of play and fun, before we set foot back in school, boy, the washout was the golden rule. Castor oil was the favorite thing. Happiness, it would never bring. Cinepod was likewise tried, and on toilet seats we would abide. The mangoes with the enticing taste, the ham, the Christmas ham we often ate in haste. Whatever trapped within us be, the castor oil would soon set free. It was the medicine we often fed just when the time for school had neared. And when our stomach ached a bit, boy, we simply had to take a little SHI, you could finish it. Some today, the washout take, the body becomes like a purified lake. The toxins gone, they feel so free, devoid of the impurity. Well, the debate is on about the washout. Some people say yes, some people no. But all I can tell you, man, I used to get washout like crazy. And many of you too. Anthony Wendell the Riggs, remembering the days and keeping our stories alive.
I hope you folks have recovered from the washout. If nothing else, I bet you guys remember that, eh? Castor oil. How many times have I gone to hide under my bed? Castor oil. The nastiest tasting, maybe in these days it's a little bit different, but back in those days, John, God. Anyhow, obviously, Anthony got you guys rolling here. There's some comments that have been coming in here. First of all, Bradley Vespre has joined us. Stephen Thomas said, "What happened to my beautiful island? Please update me." Thank you, my brother. And Stephen was crying. Did you see that? He's crying there on Facebook. Oh, my gosh. Benedict Cador says, free I, but a little later on I think he corrects it to free O. Kate Dan says, there was a fire in St. George's yesterday by the long steps. That video was the end result. I think we did explain that, Kay. We did say that that was the aftermath. Anthony Howard has explained here that he's taking his youngest back to Howard University. Okay, now we understand why he is where he is this morning. Margaret says, Fonte, I could have one now. Yeah, Mags. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Benedict Cador says, yeah, that's Frio. Another name for block. Yeah. Maria St. Bernard, I wonder if anyone remembers a thing called agadi, made from dry corn. You remember something? Yeah, John? John remembers agadi. Okay. Brenda Millington says, good morning, Grenada, my homeland. I'm viewing from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Grenville Street and St. John Street. Okay, yeah. That's where, okay. John Franco says, oh, do I go there? John Franco says, there was a lady who made a black candy on Blaze Street. I cannot use the word to express the name of the candy memories. Don't use it. Gloria Hobbins. Gloria, hello, Gloria. Oh, Gloria, why aren't you at work, Gloria? Gloria says she's still washing out. And Gloria ain't no kid, eh? Okay, Gloria. Yeah. Okay, pilgrims, I'll tell you what, enough laughter here for the time being. Here comes your national report. We've been laughing enough. Let's get serious for a minute now. Your national report.
Three Grenadians honored by the Queen for service to the country. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Thursday, January 9th, 2020, I am Rakisha St. Louis. Three Grenadians were rewarded for their years of service and contribution to the development of education, culture, business, and the community on Thursday. Mrs. Clarice Charles, Grenada's ambassador to the Republic of Cuba, was invested as a commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire for her service to education, trade unionism, and foreign affairs. Mrs. Sylvia Nayak, a business entrepreneur for over 50 years, was invested as a member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, and Mr. Raphael Johnson, educator, calypsonian, and cultural icon, was invested the British Empire Medal for his service to culture. The medals were presented by the Queen's representative Governor General, Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagrenade, during an investiture ceremony.
I thank you for everything you have done for our country. I share the pride and joy of your friends and family as you are honored here today. I encourage you to wear your insignia and use the letters that signify the award for what they are, badges of honor that will serve as a source of inspiration for those who seek to emulate you.
The awardees were all humbled to receive the awards. They gave the assurance that their service contributions will continue.
I wasn't looking forward for it. I went ahead singing calypso, doing things, not knowing that there was somebody there watching. Apparently, sometimes you get a feeling that nobody's appreciating what you do. So I'm happy that somebody took notice that I was making a contribution to the society, to Grenada and a whole. That's why I am exceptionally pleased, because I didn't realize I had so much an impact on people.
I accept the award with gratitude and humility, because I know that there are lots of persons who might have done more and might never get an award in their lifetime. I accept it on behalf of all of them. And I pray to God that I can do much more to help my society, my country. And I ask others to do the same. I thank all those who have helped me along the way with the same gratitude and humility. They have taught me what to be, what not to be. And on this road of life, you learn from others and you are a better person based on the lives of others.
I feel I'm humbled. I'm honored to receive that medal today. When I do things, I don't look for reward. I always do things and maybe reward will come. So I would accept it. But since I was a young girl, I always make contribution. I always look for the persons in need to help wherever I could help, in schools, in homes, wherever. Lots of trophies that I have home. From schools, from the homes, a lot of thank you letters for things that I've been doing for them over the years. Persons from the Americas that I host in Grenada, I get thank you letters from them. And persons that I raise funds for, like during the hurricane season in Dominica, I raise funds and send cash donation.
Parliamentary Representative for St. Andrew North West, Honorable Delma Thomas, said she's delighted that Mrs. Nayak received her medal while she can still enjoy the fruits of her service and labor. She highlighted some of the work done by Mrs. Nayak.
I am proud of the contribution she has made not only to St. Andrews Northwest, but maybe to Grenada as a businesswoman and a community person. Ms. Nayak has given human service to the community of Paraclete and by extension St. Andrews and Grenada. So apart from all that you heard here this morning, after the Ivan, Ms. Nayak also gave her business place to house the Paraclete Government School. And even now she continues to give to the community. She continues to work hard on the Cajona Home for the Aged. So she continues to work to improve the life of the people of St. Andrews. And so I am proud and I'm happy that while she's alive, she can get her flowers, and that award is being given to her today.
Member of Parliament for the Tongue of St. George, Honorable Peter David, who is presently out of state on government duties, expressed sadness on the destruction by fire of a number of businesses on Grenville Street, St. George's, on Thursday.
I just want to express my deep sadness on the occurrence of the fire in St. George's. You know, there many businesses were affected, persons were affected, homes were affected, and as the MP for the town of St. George, I want to assure everyone affected that we will do everything we can to assist in relieving them of the pressures in any way that we can. But I do want to express my personal regrets over the events, as many of the persons there are personal friends of mine, and I want to let them know that we are with them in this difficult time, and we'll do everything we can to help them and in any way to relieve any of the pressures that will come on them at this time.
That was Parliamentary Representative for the Tongue of St. George, Honorable Peter David. Continuing with the news, plans for the construction of a neonatal intensive care unit at the General Hospital has been approved. Minister for Health and Social Security, Honorable Nicholas Steele, on Tuesday announced that work will commence in January 2020. The unit accommodates advanced technologies to care for newborn babies who need special care and attention.
We have had the plans approved, working in conjunction with Pan American Health Organization and the Ministry of Works here. I will be awarding the contract within the next week or two to an individual. I expect that work to take maybe a month or two. It is not that significant, but as a result, when we are complete, we will have, based on the ratio of population and births, one of the most or the best NICU unit within the OECS, one of the best NICU units within the OECS.
He expressed that the PAHO certification will be very crucial for the development of the health sector and is grateful for all those who are on board.
In terms of the numbers, in fact, I found it was a bit large, but I am yielding to them. It is better for us to have more than we need than less than we need, especially when it comes to neonatal intensive care there. So I want to thank the individuals who have participated in this, Pan American Health Organization, Pediatric Ward, and General Hospital Administration for this.
This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
It's cricket again. West Indies versus Ireland. Grenada National Stadium, January 12th and January 15th. First, the Colonial Medical Insurance. Third, One Day International, January 12th, starting at 9 a.m. Then on January 15th, the first Sandals T20. Starting time 1 p.m. Admission on both days. Members stand $25 US or $67 EC. The Junior Murray Raw Lewis stand $15 US, $40 EC. Posse stand $5.50 US, $15 $2 EC. Senior citizens 60 and over get some free tickets while stocks last. Children 12 and under get a free ticket with the purchase of an adult ticket. Organize your posse. Get your tickets now and come support your team. January 12th and 15th.
Welcome back. Education Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear recently spoke about implementing a value-based education program in schools to ensure the continued transmission of important societal values in Grenada.
As it relates to religious education in school, I think the emphasis is more about how do we encourage spiritual values and how do we ensure that our children are grounded sufficiently that you're teaching them not just to pass exams, but you're teaching them for life, values that they can take with them throughout their lives. And that would be a focus in 2020. We want to make sure that we teach our children sufficiently the values that many of us grew up with and were told are so important to be good citizens. We want to place more emphasis there. And that is why we will be introducing in 2020 our values-based education program.
Pastor Devon Rashe, who is the chair of the value-based education program, explained more about the program.
Last year, the Ministry of Education engaged with a number of religious leaders in Grenada, pastors and other religious leaders, regarding the implementation of values-based education. And out of that meeting, a working committee was established to develop recommendations to the ministry regarding values-based education. And I was asked to chair the working committee. We have done a lot of work over the last several months on this. We did a number of engagements in terms of looking at what have been done before in the area of values-based education, in terms of analyzing what is happening currently within our school system. This program will seek to identify those values that we share in our society and promote these type of values. We have seen over the last several years the disappearance of some of the traditional values, or respect for adults, for example, and mutual respect for each other. We are speaking about building a culture. And this is true to form in what we have seen over the years from the Ministry of Education and holistically from the government of Grenada. In the past, the government has announced the ban on the sale of alcohol at school function, which is in line with this, that we have to be very consistent in the messaging that we are sending.
All of our ministers of religion have been supporting this totally. The committee that has been actively involved in this process comprises mainly ministers of religion, and that too has gotten a lot of positive feedback and support, and we look forward for the actual rollout in 2020.
That story just ended the national report for today, Thursday, January 9th. Let's recap the top story. 3 Grenadians honored by the Queen for service to the country. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Let me take the comments that are directly related to the national report before. There's some other comments that came in and I also want to share with you. First of all, Margaret says, what's up with these hats? Remember that minister who was wearing that thing on her head? Margaret says, what's up with these hats? I thought we were supposed to be independent and free from colonial trappings. Indeed, Margaret. Remember in the run-up to the referendum, we were going to shed the bonds of colonialism? Hey, remember that? Okay. T.F. Richards says, I definitely agree. Kathy Roberts is late joining us this morning, but good to have you, Kathy. Kipling Francis says, if life was fair, Mr. Simon, Mr. Anthony DeRiggs and the Black Wizard would be rightfully honored. But so be it. I know they do what they do for the love of country. Amen, Kipling. TF says, isn't it about time that we emancipate ourselves from even those so-called emulations and start giving our own national awards? Good question, TF. It's my opinion that it would be more respected and appreciated coming from the homeland instead of a nation that reminds us of colonialism. Point taken, TF. Donna Joseph says, the education minister should have listened to the Barbados Prime Minister's address concerning value-based education. You kidding? Okay. T.F. Richard says, why don't the so-called ministers use the same religious values in their everyday dealings as ministers so that the children can see that they are leading from the front? Margaret Francis says, Ms. Minister, charity begins at home. If the grabberment is immoral, that's Margaret's way of saying government, folks, for those of you who are new here. If the grabberment is immoral, how can they teach moral values to children? The government needs to clean the beam in its eye before cleaning the mote in another's eye. Cassandra Mitchell has just joined us. Thank you very much. Pilgrims, I'm anxious. But we got to pay some bills to keep this thing going, eh? So hold on a sec here. Let's take a break. We'll come back with Johncrow.
GRENDEC Community Partnership Initiative.
We at the Dorothy Hopkins Center can always rely on you for your steadfast help. It's always forthcoming. We have seen the benefits already. Our bill has been reduced, I was told, by over 40%, and that is welcome because that translates to more care for the residents. And so, thanks again.
GRENDEC, energizing our community.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenadans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
All right, folks, the moment you have been waiting for has arrived. Take a look at that gentleman there. Don't know whether you've seen him before or not, but that's Mr. Johncrow Alexander, New York-based Grenadian-born Johncrow. He's one of those persons residing in the diaspora who was always on the prowl, looking for ways to assist his dearly beloved homeland, Grenada. Spice out. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. I'm feeling very thankful this morning to people like yourself and others who have impacted my life. That's my day status for today. I'm quite thankful and quite grateful.
It's the first time you've actually been in here with me, but you've been on my Sunday program before.
Previously, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So tell me, first of all, a little bit about John and then the reason why you are here. You're not just gallivanting, are you?
No. Even when I'm gallivanting, I'm still, I was born to watch and observe and make comments, and all my life that's what I've been doing. I was born in a tiny little speck village known as Noel's Hill in St. James, St. Andrew, Grenada.
You got me there.
Right. St. James, Noel's Hill is when you leave Ladig, because you grew up in Granville.
Yeah.
I mean, Caruth.
Yeah.
Right? So then you go up past Ladig, right? Past where what is known as Felon, where the doctor's house used to be.
Uh-huh.
All right, and you go past Den River, and you pass the spout, and you keep going up the hill. As soon as you get to make the first right, well, actually, it's the second right, but the first traffic right you could make in that roadway is called Noel's Hill.
Okay, you learn.
And then inside that roadway is a little road going down the hill called Shodo.
Okay.
Grenadians wondering what the hell am I talking about. But
I'm sure Anthony the Riggs knows what you're talking about.
He's a tongue boy, and he went to Gov. He ain't know nothing about Birch Grove and those kind of places.
Anthony, you heard him.
But anyway, that's where I grew up. Was born there. My grandfather had a famous rum shop. Grew up in that rum shop environment. My father, who was an only son, he had a tailor shop in Grenville. And I went to SAS, graduated out of SAS, under Cresswell Julian. And we had, so Grenville, Birch Grove, well, St. James first, and then I moved to Birch Grove with my grandparents, so that my high school years I was mostly with my grandparents in Lower Capital, in the Palms, which really was when I became the kind of rebel that I became.
Kind of rebel. At least you're honest about it.
No, no question. Then I started my professional career as a teacher at the Birch Grove RC School under Carmen Henry. I did that for about 3 to 4 years, I think it is, and then I migrated to the United States.
Okay.
And have been living out there now for beyond, I would say, in the vicinity of about 40 years.
Utris Williams says she has family in Birch Grove.
Who's that?
Utris Williams?
That name don't ring a bell.
Okay.
But we have some.
Ding dong.
We do have a few William families in Birch Grove and stuff.
And somebody named Maria St. Bernard. She says, "Hello, Johncrow. I met you in Toronto last summer."
Okay.
Maria.
Okay.
You met so many
I
women,
meet people, and listen, I run into two people back to back on day before yesterday in Grenville, and the guy came up to me. He's like 7 feet tall, and I'm looking up to him, right? He's much younger than I am, and I'm looking at him, and I know the face, and he says, "You don't remember me, do you?" I said, "No." And then when he mentioned his name, he says, "Anthony." I said, "Oh, yes, now I know who you are."
Yeah.
And the same time, another lady was walking past, and she heard Johncrow, so she stopped literally on a dime and spin around, And he's trying to refresh my memory, and I said, like, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I really don't remember you.
Yeah.
And then when she mentioned the family name, who she belonged to, and so on, and I said, wait a second, but you used to be a tiny little skinny, twig. She said, that's me.
Yeah.
I mean, now she's all grown up and everything else. So
that's something I wish I had taken from my mom. My mom could name everybody she met 200 years ago.
I
can't.
I don't forget faces,
Right.
but I'm gonna forget your name.
Yeah.
And it might take me a little while to make the connection, but I'll remember you eventually. There's someone I met recently, and we knew each other. We went to school together, and we had this long conversation. And I know that the person knew me. And at first, I could not place them, but a few days later, in my memory, I pulled them out, and I was like, okay, now I was able to make that connection.
John, before we talk about the reason why you're here, I got to find out. This Johncrow. When I heard Johncrow, I thought, okay, that's a nickname. Is Johncrow your real name?
Okay, let's get this straight.
Explain it,
I'll
please.
explain it to you. When I went to school in Old Church,
where I went to school as well. Teacher Bridget.
Remember Teacher Bridget?
Yes.
Okay, then. So I was in Teacher Bridget's class one day. We were reading Caribbean Reader, and in Caribbean Reader, there's a story about Johncrow is the ugly bird. As I found out now, it's out of Jamaica and Panama. Now, in that class, that was a real rebellious class. Now, up to that point of that story, even though I was new to the school primarily at the time, coming out of St. James, and Teacher Lilac School in St. James, right? But I came into the school already knowing how to read, because my grandfather's shop was right next door to the private school, Teacher Lilac School, and I would be sitting on the back step of the shop and listening in on the lessons being taught in the school. My father subscribed to the Trinidad Guardian, the Sunday Trinidad Guardian. So I got the Sunday Guardian at home every Sunday, and he would give me the comic section. That was my section of the paper, and I would read. Then as I move on better, improving the reading, he'll give me other sections of the paper to read. So I went to school being able to read. So when I got to Old Church, I was the one giving everybody's nicknames. So there was one girl, she was, kind of tough looking. So she got a nickname of Monkey Bone. There's a guy who got the name Bambi because he was just hopping all over the place. So I was the one, administering names to folk. So when I got to this section of the book, and I'm in the back, and that was my station, and the entire front row said, Johncrow, and as we're reading down the passage, and it says, the ugly bird, and so everybody turned around with a finger in my face and says, Johncrow, oh God, look at Johncrow like the ugly bird, because I was the ugliest guy in the class. So I got the name. Now, at first, I went to my father crying with his name and upset about his name, and I'm mad as hell. And he said, but what do I call you? Because my middle name is Louis, L-O-U-I-S, from Louis Pasture, because he named it. And he has Louise, Elise. His name is Louis. And so the L theme ran through. In this ugly bird story, when I got to my father, he says, but that's not what I call you. That's not what your grandfather called you. That's not what your grandmother called you. It's what you're upset about. He said, you're answering to a name that's not your name. And so that sort of gave you the boost to stand up and face it. No matter what I did, I couldn't shake the name. Then I discovered my skill or talent as a performer. And I realized that having a name as a performer, so I turned the negative around of the name and used it as my official name.
Okay.
And I use it as my official name.
To this day?
To this day.
All right.
Now, Alexander, the only reason why you're seeing Alexander on Facebook is because Facebook tell me that I cannot use a false name. I have to use a real name, you know. And I can't talk to you now. What are you calling me for? I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you now. What are you calling me for? Anyway, so as a result of that, now Facebook is what revealed me, and so more people now know Alexander as my name. But for, I would say, most of my life, very few people knew what my full name is. As a matter of fact, one time I had a court action and somebody was trying to serve me papers and they couldn't find me.
Johncrow Alexander, that's where we leave it.
That's, yeah. I mean, Johncrow. I don't use the Alexander unless it's official documentation.
Just Johncrow?
Just Johncrow.
So like John's your first name, and is your first name Johncrow, or is your first name John and your surname Crow?
Yes.
Yes, to which one?
It's the John, first name, Crow, last name.
John Crow.
Yes.
Oh.
And I've adapted it, and it's been working. Now, if I have to sign a document, and somebody going to give me some money, and it has to go through the process, etc., then we have to bring in the government name. The government name is Alexander.
So John Alexander.
Yes. Or Johncrow Alexander.
Glad we got that cleared up.
So, I mean, but very few people know the story. I mean, being the ugliest guy in the class and so forth. But, you know, it's what it is. It is what it is. And I wear it proudly.
Somebody named Lawrence Kruthoff, a regular visitor on this forum.
Okay.
He says here, good morning, John. Do you remember Rochi?
Yes.
From Birch Grove?
Yes. That's him. That's Rochi, yeah.
So we got a John Crow and we got a cockroach. Boy, what a morning we're having here. Let me tell you.
Rochi has Rochi has a story because he is a member of a very prominent family from Birch Grove and brother to a prominent, could I say politician? I guess you can say politician here in the island.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What brings you here? John, listen, I know that over the years you've been putting together care packages for this place. You've helped schools with computers. You've helped with health care and this and that. What's it this time?
Well, I am in the middle of, I'm doing a series of things I'm doing. The health issue, and I'm really and truly staying in health. As a matter of fact, I'm filing papers right now to create a non-profit organization here. The name of it, I can put it out there because it's already registered. I Help Grenada PC.
I Help Grenada PC.
CP, I think is, yeah. I Help Grenada CP Incorporated.
Okay.
That's what I Help Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. That's the CP. That's the organization. Because I find myself, okay, last year, this in 2020, so I had to say year before last, for the first time, I was instrumental myself, Barbara Brathwaite, as well as Anne Auguste Hopkin, and the three of us spearheaded this, bringing into Grenada the organization known as HERO, Health and Education Relief Organization, and we came in and did some fistula implant surgeries to patients who are on dialysis and what have you. Fast forward, last October, a second visit was made, and this time it was expanded. And I had to put this word in here. Unfortunately, there were quite a few people who did not take advantage of one of the aspects of it, where we had a specialist who is a joint and bone surgeon, and the idea was to look for people who have disabilities, physical disabilities, deformed hands, deformed fingers, deformed limbs, walking on the toes, to see Dr. His name is Claude Scott, and what he specializes in, he comes in, take an analysis of your condition, look and see what kind of adjustments are needed, and then he would then come back, the second trip, to come back and then do the operation to fix whatever it is.
Okay.
They've been doing this in Guyana for the last several years now quite successfully. So people who have cleft lip, some people they're born and you can see the teeth actually with those kind of people, or they have the tonsils are, deformed, what have you. I'll keep knocking the microphone. And they would, so Claude would go in, and as well as John Mitchell, who is the president of the organization. So they will perform the surgeries on these patients and to improve conditions for them. So that's one aspect. Now, the big thing that I'm working on right now, and that's really and truly why I wanted to be on the program this morning, and I appreciate you for accepting that that offer, that suggestion, is I've collected several hospital beds, and yesterday, I spoke to Dr. Mitchell in the middle, Dr. Carol McIntosh, the Director of Hospital Services, and I was so glad that she was able to reaffirm to me the need that the hospital has right now for hospital beds. There's a young man in Brooklyn, his name is Fishtail. Talk about a roach, now you have a fish. So Fishtail.
And a crow.
And a crow. Fishtail is from Bolio, Vendome area. The Francis family, he's belonging to that. He used to be a taxi driver here one time, but he's now working in the, the aged business. The name goes out my head anyway. But he works in that area. And so he's able to get a whole lot of these hospital type beds. And so I've been collecting those. And I have 2 basements and a garage right now full with these items that, according to Dr. McIntosh, they truly, really and truly need them. I'm in the process of trying to ship a 40-foot container to Grenada that contains beds. We have walkers, we have wheelchairs, we have crutches, we have scrubs, and like she said to me yesterday, there are a lot of the small items that we don't think about, like gloves and wipes, disinfectant wipes and those kinds of things. But if you know somebody who is able to make a contribution, they might not be able to put a physical piece, on the table, but they might know somebody who works someplace that, because in many cases what happens is after they use certain things, they will discard them. No, but we're not looking for discarded, broken items. We're looking for, if it's discarded, but it has to be a functional piece. Like somebody just donated 3 medical terms, urology machine, I think it's called, where they do this scan for veins and what have you. But they're very old. So while it looks good and it looks new, but it's old machines, we can't really use those. It doesn't make sense sending them, because if and when they break, there's nobody to fix them, because the technology has advanced. Right. So I'm not looking for anything that is old, outdated, broken, or breaking. I'm looking for things that are usable, current, even better than new, as we say, brand new secondhand is what we're talking about, brand new secondhand. So if you work in that area, you work in that department, you know somebody who does, that's what we're looking for. I'm also looking for hard cash, because the shipper is asking us for in the vicinity of about $7,000 to ship this container. It will benefit every Grenadian, because if you don't use it, there's somebody who can use it. Yesterday was a great example that the fire that struck on Grenville Street in St. George's, I happened to be at the hospital. I happened to have had a 9 o'clock interview set up with Dr. McIntosh, but I had to pull back and wait, and I have to give credit to the police commissioner. I think it's acting police commissioner.
Acting.
Edwin Martin.
Edwin Martin.
Right? He called all of the essential services heads immediately yesterday morning to have a sit down and see how can we fix and be a bit more prepared for if and when this kind of disaster strikes. So that, and I was present to hear her after her meeting with on that level, to having the discussion with her crew as to what is it that we have in place to be assured that if Grenlec has to cut power, our generators are ready to kick in immediately without any hesitation and without any delay. And she was on the phone and kicking us and taking names. No, I mean, and she's my friend. I knew her before she became into this position. She is a no-nonsense kind of a person, and she continues that way. I mean, there have been some flack coming out of certain places here in Grenada because they don't like change. They don't like anybody who coming and want to change the status quo. And so she's not that kind of a person. She's not that. She's the kind of person who wants results. And don't tell her, well, what used to be and what how it used to be. No, she wants what is now and what can we do better going forward. And so last night, in a conversation that I had with her, she was able to reveal to me that there are problems, and she acknowledges it. And however, in her program, she's looking at how we could improve and change those areas of problems that exist. So in terms of me and the medical items, the other thing that I want to touch on, the nursing homes, which is what really sparked me pulling items and trying to get items here. The nursing homes in Grenada, they all need help. As a matter of fact, the nursing homes, there's a home for battered women that are badly neglected. Grenadians, we have a country that is small, but we have people in this country with big hearts. And I'm appealing to you. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do it how I'm doing it. You don't have to do what George does. But you have to we all have to do something in some which way, whatever small way we can, to improve conditions for our less fortunate. There are people, I visited that home yesterday, and I was in tears when I left. I met a young man, through no fault of his own, who is living in that home because his mother had to flee domestic violence conditions, and he is angry. George, when I tell you he's angry, he's so angry. He picked up a doll, and he dismembered the doll. When I saw him doing it, I said, why are you doing that? He said he immediately went into defense mode. Are you a psychologist? Are you a psychologist? You won't tell me that I'm crazy? And I said, no, I'm just asking you, why are you doing this? That's a child. But because of the domestic violence environment that he came from, that anger is in there. And his only way of getting it out is to beat up on inanimate objects. And we have to understand what we do as leaders, as politicians, our people in charge, when we send out these messages and put out these kinds of things and ignore places like Cedar Home. We can't continue that way. There's another home for children. I think it's the Hopkins something somewhere.
Dorothy Hopkins home.
Okay. We can't ignore these places. Yes, the hospital need help, and I'm one of the people who's going to try to help. But you have other institutions where other Grenadians need the kind of help and services that most of us ignore on a daily basis. We walk past like it's nobody's business until something happens and it's a headline. Then we talk about it for 9 days and it's done, as if the problem walked away. There's a culture in this tongue. I mean, I'm going to step on some toes, and you might get some phone calls. This WEFM culture that we have here, it has to stop. People who are holding positions, who are in office, and I know I'm talking to you, I'm preaching to the choir, but people who hold office, you have to get off this high horse of WEFM. And WEFM, for those of you who don't know what it is what's in it for me. We, W-I, we, F, for me. We have to get off from that. And this under-the-table dealings, and if you can slip an envelope under the table, then I don't want to talk to you. You're not helping the overall fabric of this nation. And this is not an NDC or NNP bash up on NNP or bash up on Keith or bash up on the government or anything like that. I want to be very clear because there are some people who, I call them detractors, who like to come at me whenever they see or hear me speak that way, and they think, well, you don't like Keith, or you don't like the government, or you don't this and you don't that. No, I'm saying to you that you are destroying from within. You are within, and you are destroying the very said thing that you're supposed to be propping up. That WeFM mentality has to stop, and that's what's killing us in this place. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox again.
I'm glad you're speaking like that. I'm glad you're speaking like that. Go ahead.
I don't mean to. I know because anyway.
Listen,
Domestic violence.
Before you move on, let me tell you, they're listening to you, and they're putting their comments here. Let me share some of these comments with you. Okay. First of all, Utris Williams says that's very good, wonderful, the work that you're doing. Arthur Langine says welcome and thanks for your services. Spice Babes Duncan says, good job, Mr. Crow. See, they're listening, John. They're listening. And Utris also says, you know, she was referring to something you said a little while ago, and she says, yes, that's so true. He needs help. So she's calling on people out there to help you and provide the assistance, varied assistance that you've been able to offer. Spice Babes Duncan says, oh yes, the hospital service needs help. And there are many homes in Grenada that badly need support and services.
The Cedar Home in, well, I can't give the location because it's, you know, protected and so on. But the Cedar Home in Grenada, home for domestic violence, survivors, I can't call them victims, they're survivors. Someone, somewhere, needs to recognize the mothers, the women, the children, the people who provide the service. They have very little resources. The walls are bare. When I say the walls, there's nothing inspirational so that you could look up on the wall and see there's a word. There's a young lady in there who is an author. She actually penned and authored a book of poetry. You know, and she wanted to give me her last copy and tell her, no, hold on to your copy, this is one of yours. But the plan in my head is to try to reach out to some friends of mine and see how we can actually publish it, because it does not have an ISBN number, it does not have all the required documentation, so to speak, so that it can be included in the Library of Congress. While in the home, the woman wrote a book. She don't have degree and she didn't go to college and those kind of things. She wrote a book, her expression, the things that are coming out from inside of her. And she's it's more like a jail as opposed to a home, and the way that I seen it. The workers are there, and you can tell, I mean, I'm looking, you know, it's a short visit that I had with them, and they are crying out for help because I equate the home to Cuba. You know, Cuba is under the embargo, and no matter what it is, they could take a hairpin and fix a car, and they're taking spit in that place to make ends meet, and the rest of us just going about daily lives, normal, no big deal, okay? And we worry about the next party and the next high-class event, etc. We have to take ownership, because these are our children and our mothers and our sisters who are in that home. That Cedar's home is a place that needs, oh God, it needs immediate, it's like a military strike. But unfortunately, there's nobody upstairs in high places. It's not sexy. You know, there's no headlines in that to go. I mean, there's a friend of mine, before I came here, I had asked her to through her business to pay a visit. And I know she's schedule is kind of a hectic, so, and it's on her agenda to get there. But even though that's not what my focus is, but the appeal, I'm putting this appeal out right now to pay some attention to Cedars Home and the Dorothy Hopkins homes and those senior citizens' homes where we kind of a warehouse our old people until they come when the good Lord calls them.
John, let me ask you something before you go any further. Do you have a representative on the ground here? You know, there are people who are watching you right now, just judging by the comments, and they're moved by what they're hearing. And I believe that there are people who would be moved to the point of helping. And please, everybody's being asked for money nowadays.
Right.
Right. So people are fed up with that.
Right.
Okay. But John, like you mentioned earlier on, there are a lot of different little ways people can help. How can they reach you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. If you want to get me, you could inbox me on Facebook. You could call my phone number. It's 917-676.
Let me write that on. Let me put this on Facebook right now. John
CROW
Crow Alexander.
That's me.
Okay, and the number is
917 676 2634.
2634.
Right.
917-676-2634.
Yes. Now, right now, I don't have an official Grenada connection yet. There are individuals who working with, but they behind the scenes, they don't like the names out there, etc. So I cannot give out any names on the local level. But in terms of making a financial contribution to the shipment of the items that I now have in my possession, they can send monetary contribution to, it's called Family Renaissance.
Family Renaissance, FAMILY. I'm putting this all out there.
Okay, all right.
RENAISSANCE, Family Renaissance.
813 Maple Street.
Maple Street.
And that's in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
11203. And in the memo section of the check, money order that you would write, you want to put in there for our seniors or our seniors.
In the memo section of check, write
our seniors.
Write for our seniors.
Yes, or our seniors. Either one, which is our seniors is good. So that the Lorraine, when she gets it, knows that that's contribution that's coming specifically.
All right. Family Renaissance, 813 Maple Street, Brooklyn, New York, 11203. In the memo section of the check, write our seniors.
No, a lot of people have hit me up and then they no longer write checks. They no longer
PayPal.
They have PayPal, etc. When I get back to New York, I plan on leaning on Brother John, because before I left, I had asked him whether or not they have a PayPal. I mean, and they're doing this as a favor. They're not obligated. They're not part of the movement, etc. It's out of relationships that we've had over time, and so he's decided to help out by accepting it and being our fiscal conduit with Family Renaissance. So I have no say as to how these financial transactions take place. I think Lauren mentioned that he might have a PayPal situation going, but I'm not sure. So those of you who would want to make a contribution and you don't have check, etc., there's always the money order that you can buy from the post office and mail it in, and we'll accept that. Not a problem.
Get that normalized as fast as you can, and then give it to me, and we'll get it out there. Okay?
Absolutely.
But folks, in the meantime, just let me say this. John is not asking for thousands of dollars. You might want to adopt just one person at one of these institutions he's talking about. folks, you go to the groceries, pick up a packet of Pampers,
Yep.
a couple boxes of toothpaste,
Yep.
some toothbrushes, little things like that. He's not asking for thousands of dollars like you hear these politicians talking about. Oh, we got 20 million US dollars in donation. Oh. No, 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 no.
Because
just
children,
one person. Help one person. If a few of you do that, 5, 10 of you do that, you know how many people in those homes are being helped? Please. Please. Yes, John.
the children, I looked at the children yesterday. Like, for instance, there was a young lady, she has a book and on the floor, and just sketching away on the floor, and I'm like, they have no toys. And almost all of the mothers who are in this home, domestic violence home, and I'm calling it domestic violence home, it's not really a domestic violence home, but where they're fleeing domestic violence, almost all of them has at least one child. No, that's a generation, if you will, or a school. Children who are living in conditions that they are now housed or sent to regular school. The school children in the regular school know where they live. So when they go to school, they've been heckled and hassled and teased, and they know that child who is in this home, they're coming with a stigma. And so you who is well off, in reasonable terms, well off, there's something that you can do. Maybe take them shopping one day. Maybe take them onto the beach. Of course, you have to go through the various, necessary formalities, etc. You're not just walking and say, well, I'm taking them to the beach. There's a friend of mine, and she's the one who turned me on to the home. I knew of the home before, but I did not know of the plight of the home. And she's coming out of the UK, right? Sandra Johnson. I had to give her some props. And she is the one who brought to my attention how bad the conditions are in Cedar Home. And I spoke to a few people and I mentioned to them, and I never heard of it. And I didn't know that. But you're here. You're here. And we could do things to help.
All right, John, we're running out of time.
I don't want to run out of time.
But I wanna include some more comments here. So what did I say? Comments?
Comments, yeah.
Comment.
Yeah.
Some more comments, eh?
Some more comments.
See the things you learn from Georgie Pochi.
That's right.
Andrea St. B. Mitch says, "This is heart-wrenching." I told you they're listening to you. Arthur Langine says, "Brother John, you are saying the God's truth." Anthony DeRiggs, talking about this, what's in it for me? He said, "John, you said it. This pass something under the table attitude must stop." Now, I'm not going to pronounce her last name. Every time I try to pronounce this, I bugger myself up. But somebody named Enid, she says, "I 100% agree with your guest." Let me keep scrolling here. Utrus Williams says, "It's ambassadors like you that Grenada needs."
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm booking for the consul general position in New York. Nobody's listening to me. I keep asking.
People like you will never get it.
I keep asking for it, but they're not paying me no mind.
Floyd Nichols is saying good morning. Hello, Floyd. Anthony DeRiggs, he says, "Important information. Please share the live."
There you go.
Telling people.
There you go.
Always very helpful.
There you go.
Utrus Williams says, "Sponsor a child."
Sponsor a child.
Andrea St. B says, "The kids are further victimized by teasing."
Yes. Yeah.
Claude Pudner says, "Mr. Grant, I hope he's not treated like Mr. Simon, the man from, I know who he's talking. You ever heard of a guy named Chester Simon?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've heard of him. From Switzerland?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zurich.
I've heard of him.
Chester's another one who has busted his chops to help here.
Well, I mean, I don't know all of what he did and what he did not do, or what all of what happened to him. I've heard stories. I'm a kind of a guy that, while I might not take a bulldozer and knock down the door, but I know how to push a little hard. I tend to push back.
This guy push.
Yeah.
Spice Babes Duncan says, blessings, Johncrow. Some Grenadians defeat their own purpose with this political green and yellow mentality.
Yeah.
It was installed into them. It saddens me as a young person that our leaders that are in a position to apply and make changes are just creating an environment for spite and hate. John, my personal opinion here, that is the truth, and it is shameful.
It's shameful.
Okay?
I mean,
So much money, Spice Babes continues, so much money is wasted in Grenada and unaccounted for by people appointed in leadership positions. All these institutions mentioned by John that's in need of help could have benefited from that wasted cash.
And it's just a matter of redirection, redistribution. I don't know, I wouldn't pretend to know that what and how much money this country pulls in whatever means that it do. But I do know that it does not take $1 million, millions of dollars to bring a little inspiration to a place like Cedar Home. To put a little a television set or a television monitor, to pipe in some, whether it's music, sound, just something other than just a bare wall and a dirty flow,
Joan Wellington says, great job, Mr. Johncrow. This is a heart for the love of country and its people, love of country and its people. I hope some of us will come on board and join with a helping hand.
I hope so too.
John, on that note, boy, I got a bill.
Gotta go.
See, these people here, they agree to give me an hour every day. Sometimes I drag them along for another half hour, eh? And you see it's 10:30 now.
No, but I have other appointments
things
to make before I hit the road and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you, George.
Hey.
You are one of the people who Grenadian will say you is one of the people that I like what you're doing, and appreciate what you're doing, and appreciate you for what you're doing. I know your story. I mean, you shared it with me, and I'm sure that your viewers, audience, also know.
Yeah, they know. They know.
We don't have to go over it, but I'll say this much: that keep the faith.
There's a God above.
There's a God above.
Amen, bro. All right, John, thanks a lot. And I don't have to tell you. You can just see and hear by what is out here this morning that they appreciate what you are doing. And I'm hopeful that you have mobilized some proactiveness on the part of Grenadians. A lot of these people listening to you right now are in the United States. But there are also others here who are listening, and I'm just hoping that they will be moved to doing something. And like he said, it they have to be nothing big, $20 million in grant.
Right.
And then next week, it gone.
What happened
Way
to-
gone. Nobody know.
I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
let me just, as you mentioned, Brooklyn, New York, and the United States. In Brooklyn right now, I have some items in a lady's basement. She's very graceful. I can't be mad at her. She needs to fix up her basement, and I have to get the stuff out immediately. And I'm looking for a place where I could store them until I'm able to ship them. So if anybody listening who is anywhere in the Brooklyn area who can offer up a garage, a basement, I don't know, storage, whatever it is, I'm grateful. Reach me at 917-676-2634. And we are truly grateful to all those of you who have made contributions so far to the efforts and continue to do so. I have several people, I have the names and what have you, but I'm not going to take the time now. But continue to help us. And if you have a basement or a garage and we could put some stuff in there for the time being, for a brief moment, we do appreciate that as well. Thank you so very much, George.
3 comments just came in here, and I got to share them. First of all, Clive Baker, and this amazes me. Clive says, Uncle George, I wonder how many people listen to your radio show. I don't give a hoot, Clive. It's there. And those who don't listen, it speaks volumes about them. They flock to the TB and the scandal. We're trying to help people. We're trying to save lives. Those who aren't interested, their business. Thank you. Anthony DeRigg says, some of those in authority prefer to hand out money to people in rum shops to secure votes than to give to the homes that you mentioned. See what I mean, John? You stirred them up. And your good friend, Margaret, says, "Aw, big hug."
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, really?
Okay, I coming from a hug. I coming from a hug. I coming from a hug. I want me hug. I coming from a hug.
Nutris Williams says, I listen and enjoy. Thank you, Nutris. God bless you. And God bless those of you who take the time to spend a few minutes with us. Selflessly. John, okay, we got to go. All right? Safe trip. When are you leaving?
Sometime this weekend, I think.
Sometime this week. He doesn't even know when he's leaving. Okay, thanks a lot, bro. But we're going to part with something from the Holy Scriptures as we do every day. Again, this is so apropos. Didn't plan it, just so happens. I didn't know he and I would be talking about what we did this morning. This comes to you from the book of Job. Job chapter 8, verses 20, 21, and 22. Surely, God does not reject one who is blameless or strengthen the hands of evildoers. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. Your enemies will be clothed in shame, and the tents of the wicked will be no more. Make a note, Job 8, verses 20, 22. Pilgrims, boy, never a dull moment on this program. You guys surprised me at the times I least expected. At the times I least expected. Spice Babe says, blessings, George. You went through a lot with your radio program, but you still continue through Facebook media to get the words across. I'm impressed. Spice Babes, thank you. God bless you, too. On that note, Georgie Porgy's got to go run some errands now. But have a great weekend, my dear friends. And I'll tell you what, we're going to be back in this chair on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock for next week's edition of Sundays with George Grant. God bless you, John. God bless you out there. God, please, bless this nation.